probably agree that it was, I need an uninoculated one. Uninoculated, it's this color, right? Just, I don't have that color marker. So the idea here is that if it turns yellow, that means there's a pH change. The only way that there's a pH change is if an organism, of course, is utilizing the product and then giving off waste products, and the waste products change the color. Do you see that? You can't argue that they're going to turn yellow on their own, because these sit here for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's not turning yellow. The only reason it turns is because there's an organism in there that waste products cause it to turn. So this is the number one question that people ask me every semester.
Why is it orange?
Yes, why is it orange? So don't you dare come up to me and ask me, is this red or is this yellow? We know it's orange. I think it looks yellow to me. I'm going to find a more orangish one.
Mine are pretty orange.
Well, I'll stick with that one. That looks orangish. It's orange, right? It's definitely not. Let me find the perfect yellow one. It's definitely not that yellow. Agreed?
Right.
Okay. But you have to understand that there's only one way that this could happen. It's because an organism is living in there and is exchanging and getting waste products. You can't say that it's turning on its own, because here's one. I'll even use the same sugar. Here's one that's been sitting out for days, and it's not turning on its own, right? So I'm going to stand behind the idea that orange is a positive result. Positive for metabolism of the sugar. There's a second thing you look in here. Do you remember the tube that's turned upside down?
Durham.
Is a Durham tube, and it's turned upside down to trap
Gas.
gas. So let me give you a shining example. What a shining example of a Durham tube that has trapped gas in it. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay? So that's why this is positive for waste products, positive for gas. You see, look at that gigantic air bubble in there. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay? So the next thing I want you to think about, you do understand it's impossible to have negative, well, that's even slightly, it's impossible to have a negative result and then have gas. You can't have an organism that says, oh, I don't like to eat this sugar, but then starts farting all over the place. Right? So it's either going to be positive for metabolism and positive for gas, or only positive for metabolism. Right? So notice that we don't have, this is all the combinations that we would have. And you see that air bubble right there. A significant air bubble. Number one, you know that I will not interpret your results for you. Number two, do you see how there's just the smallest air bubble in there? That one is actually kind of significant. But there are some that I've had students walk up and say, can you see that air bubble? And I think, what? And then I think, I'm not going to interpret this for you. Don't let a tiny, tiny little air bubble ruin your whole life. Right? There you go. Now that's an organism that knows how to pass gas, right? You should say, excuse yourself.
So tiny air bubbles. Okay.
So don't